All right, before we get to the last tab, let's define some measures for this project. I'm going to define just a standard set of measures with the default best improvement assumptions for each one, and then we will click over to the results tab. This will take just a minute to run. You can see it building 8 models, one for each of those measures, and that'll run in the cloud, and we'll get the results here in just a second. All right, now when the results are finished, you can see we've got a number of different tables and values charts here to look through. Each of these is giving us slightly different information. There's a annual summary of energy cost, kWh and therm savings broken down a few different ways, as well as the CO2 equivalent. We can see the baseline building, the proposed building, or the building with all of the measures applied, what the absolute savings are, and the percent savings that that represents. Two buttons I'll point out at the top of each one of these blocks. We can convert that to a per square foot basis if that's what we're interested in, and we can also collapse that block if we want to get it out of the way as we're looking at others. Next up is annual energy cost, and each one of these charts, you'll see there's a down arrow here on the left. So if we click that, we can actually change this to show us different values. So it defaults to energy costs, but we could also look at carbon dioxide, electricity, natural gas, site energy, source energy, etc. Then the chart is broken down into these different end-use categories, and we can hover over each value to see what the actual numerical value is. Each column represents a different measure. So we're starting with the baseline on the left, moving over to the building energy usage after the last measure has been applied on the right. Now, in the end use categories, we can also click on these to remove them from the chart if we want to focus in on one specific end use category or a handful of end use categories. We could remove several of them in order to see just one or two at a time. Monthly energy cost is very similar. This is a breakdown by month, comparing the baseline building to the proposed building. Again, the proposed building has every measure applied. So here we also have the same options in terms of changing the values that we're actually looking at. Finally, we have a breakdown of the savings per measure. We can, for instance, here we can see that the interior lighting measure represents the most significant savings in terms of dollars per year. But if we wanted to look at electricity or natural gas, we could see the effect of each of those measures on each of these different values. Then finally, there's a table of results. This is just a summary table with some handy metrics that can be useful for any sort of analysis outside of Sketchbox. This has the option with this little clipboard button here to copy all of that data to your clipboard so you can paste it into an Excel spreadsheet or wherever you need to share that data.